Let's get started with part 2 of Lab 3. So you're given in part 2 a second geologic cross-section. So we've cut away the earth and now we're looking at it from the side. We can see layers of sedimentary rocks. We can see an igneous rock with this stippled pattern on it. And we can also see an offset here. So what you're going to do is you're going to put the sequence of events from oldest at the bottom to youngest at the top. And once again, you're going to say whether each event that you're going to list there, this time you're only going to say if it's, you don't have to say what kind of rock it is, you have to just say if it's deposited, intruded, offset, or there's a new one now, eroded. And the only place in this cross-section where we're seeing eroded is at the present surface. We can see it goes up and down because it's been eroded away. So we'll take that one. So the youngest one here, so we know that in this case, G, and then I'll just put a dash and say eroded. And that just means that that forces at the top of the earth, water or wind or something else has eroded down that part G there. But I think it's a better idea to start at the bottom and move towards the top now that we have this top one. So let's see what we think the first thing to happen here is. And once again, it's kind of on the bottom of this stack of pancakes that have all been stacked one by one on top of each other. So the oldest one here in this case is E. I'm just going to copy and paste this down here and then change it. So E is the oldest layer, and it was not eroded, it was deposited. And in this case, E is a layer of shale. We know that by those dashes, but some of these other layers we don't know. So we're just not going to put on the rock type this time. We're just going to put on what happened. So the first thing that happened was E was deposited, and then typically the next thing that happens is whatever on top of that was deposited next. So I'll put that one on as well. After E was deposited, then H was deposited. But you're going to get to a couple points here where something is either going to be intruded, and that's going to be the igneous geologic unit that you see on the cross section, or offset, and that's going to be the fault that's taking one side and moving it up or down with respect to the other side. So most of these, all the letters are going to fit on one of these lines. You have the first, you have the bottom two and the top one, and you're going to fill in the other ones here. You're going to do a couple other things on this cross section, on this side of the cross section. Once again, I'll just put a line on, but you're going to put an arrow. You just put an arrow on here, and then you just indicate whether you think things have been pushed up in this direction on this side or if they've slid down in this direction here. And also, where you have the igneous event, on either side of the igneous event, that used to be molten magma, and that tends to cook the rocks. That's where we would expect metamorphism to take place. So you're going to highlight the entire area where you would expect to find metamorphic rocks, and then you have to identify where the limestone is in this cross section, and where the limestone meets those intrusive igneous rocks. You would expect those rocks to get cooked there and metamorphosed. And of course, when limestone gets metamorphosed, we would expect to get marble. So you'll want to both highlight the area of contact metamorphism, and then also label the two areas, the two specific areas that you've just highlighted, where you would expect to find marble if you dug a hole in the ground.